Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We are excited to discuss a brand new graduate program at Tarleton State University, our master's degree in rehabilitative science. And I am pleased to be joined today by the faculty coordinator, Dr. Craig Hermans. As he is going through his presentation, if you do have questions, we ask that you submit those using the Q&A box or the chat box, and we will handle those at the end. But for now, I will just turn things over to him.
Well, thank you so much. Like you mentioned, the Masters in Science and Rehabilitative Science, brand new program. So spring 2026 is the first time that we're going to be able to offer this, and we're just absolutely thrilled for it. You look at Tarleton kind of as a big umbrella, and it's expanding so quickly. So coming with a medical school on the horizon, physical therapy, occupational therapy, athletic training, there's so many different domains that live within the world of rehab science. So my department of health and human performance under the College of Kinesiology really took a step and looked at that and said, okay, well, what's missing? So what we identified is the Master of Rehab Science. There's just a lot of things that can really live there. And for a student that is maybe not able to get into like a physical therapy program today, just as an example, maybe it's been a while since they've been in college and they just need kind of a refresher. So the rehab science degree really serves two purposes. So for one, we're an on-ramp and off-ramp. So as an on-ramp, we're preparing students very deliberately for our terminal degrees, occupational therapy, physical therapy, maybe even going into like a PA program, nurse practitioner, or a physician program like our DO that's going to come on the horizon. It's a beautiful on-ramp. They take a lot of scientifically based courses within the right domains. They check all the right boxes. They get all this experience, and it affords them time to make sure that their future degree is well aligned for them. As an off-ramp, we serve on just the opposite side. If you go through like athletic training or PT school, and all of a sudden there's like a catastrophic life thing, like it happens to all of us at some point, unfortunately. But we're able to grab those students. We can still facilitate them through this master's program, afford them the opportunity to still get a master's degree. And then when life is a little bit different, maybe they can shift back and then can go back into those other programs. Second purpose is we can be a standalone degree as well. And as we'll discuss here momentarily, but the rehabilitative program that we're building is going to design very strategic pathways to career fields where our students can jump into this degree and stay here and do really well for themselves. So this program, again, because it is new, we are going to do rolling starts. So we are not going to be a hard cohort base like a lot of other programs are. Instead, we're going to allow our students to hop in when life suits them well. The benefits for that is that we have rolling start dates, rolling application dates. I always encourage students to apply early. So considerations like scholarships, sometimes that's first come, first serve. So even like Department of Kine or College of Kinesiology has scholarship opportunities. Graduate assistant opportunities are always exciting as well. So the earlier our students apply, the better they are seated to be applicants first in, first out for those things. Um, but in terms of prerequisites, so anatomy and physiology one and two, biomechanics, exercise phys, theory of strength and conditioning, and then stats are the kind of core prereqs for the program. Occasionally, we'll see a student that maybe they're a transfer from another university and they're coming to Tarleton for the first time. Maybe they've been at Tarleton and they had a kind of different pathway. So we typically see students that had undergrad programs in biology, maybe it was business. I've actually seen one from ag, which was kind of interesting. And so we have students that kind of come from a variety of different places. And I think what I can tell about my own experience, but I know as I went through my different programs, I had a different undergraduate program originally, but we find a lot and kind of discover, I think, a lot about ourselves and about different career fields just through the experience of education. And so, as our students are doing that, if they're missing a prereq, we have some leveling classes and then some problems courses that can help catch them up. So, if they're missing one of these, it's not the end of the world. I would just have them know, our students know that we can work with a lot. So this program's 36 hours. And so this is probably a lot all at once, but I think it's important to have like just a visual representation. So You're looking at 5 semesters, and it can be done different part-time, it can be done full-time, they can accelerate theoretically so long as the GPA is okay and it's holding for them. But there's two different options. So one is our thesis option, and the other is capstone. So our top here above the middle section there is just going to show though what the thesis looks like potentially. So our students would take their core courses, they would choose their electives, their own adventure through the program. And then thesis is traditionally done over 2 semesters. So say we have a student, they apply today. The way that would work is they would apply to the College of Graduate Studies. I would get their application once they've been formally admitted to College of Grad Studies. I would review their packet. I'd be the one to welcome them on board to our degree pathway. From there, we would kind of do an interview process, but more so for me to find out too about them, figure out kind of what they want to do short term, long term, and then I would help to align them with a faculty member that's going to be a really good mentor for them along that process. So, with that mentor in mind, as we start to walk closer to thesis, that mentor will be communicating with them quite a bit, helping them identify what it is that they want to research and write about. It should be something that's kind of personal to them, because if it is, it's going to mean a lot more to them and they'll be excited to work through that process. Capstone's a little bit different. So, with capstone, it's the student wants to be probably more of a practitioner. They want to go out into career field and be super hands-on, like in a rehabilitative clinic. So, where a thesis is well designed for a student that wants to go into research as a career field, they might want to go become like a college, like a faculty member. They want to work for, golly, like a orthopedic device company. Maybe they want to look at researching for like independent agency. Those students are going to kind of probably have a different mindset in terms of what they want to gain from the program. So with the capstone, this could be a student that wants to be like a clinical exercise physiologist, as an example. Maybe they want to go and they want to run like a rehabilitative clinic. They want to work in a hospital. A lot of those students, because they are hands-on, are going to gain probably more from an internship opportunity. And so our capstone is just that. We would place them in our community. They would get a bunch of hours with the internship program. We do have a ton of relationships in the community. Although if a student was coming from a situation where they had kind of an idea of where they wanted to go and intern, we're happy to entertain that too. We just do some paperwork in the background, but we can make that happen absolutely. And then the capstone itself is literally their presentation to faculty of what that meant. What did they gain from that experience? What are some of the things that they learned from that? What does science tell us about that as a career field, maybe? Whatever internship opportunity they had. And then what were their takeaways from that? Um, so again, kind of a different learning outcome based on what the student needs and what they want. So when we were creating this program for Rehab Science, one of the things that was important to us was certifications, right? So if a student knows they want to be a clinical exercise physiologist, man, we will do everything in our power to make sure that they have that certification. So within our exercise physiology course, for example, we would make sure that they had that as one of their courses that they take. But then at the end of the semester, they would have that certification. Almost everything within rehab science is going to require a certification through American Heart Association. That's a cert that takes just a few hours. That's a super easy one. And so again, we make sure that they're partnered with them. But we have relationships and internships with athletic training, with physical therapy, occupational therapy, with hospitals, with sports teams, with our military. So again, this is kind of an old career field that's opening brand new opportunities for the first time. So another example with this one is we're looking to develop out a cognate that's sports psychology. And so as those things start to come to fruition, as we start to go through accreditation process, their electives would actually be with our psych department on campus, but the student could go into sports psych. Interesting thing with that is like our military and our first responders are just really developing this out right now. So again, it's a great career field, pays really, really well, but there's this brand new demand for that. So the nice thing is with the internship opportunities and alignments that we have, there's not a lot of other programs nationally that offer that. And so as we do, we can place our students directly with one of those contract agencies, give them the opportunity to collect all those clinical rotation hours so that they can license at the end of the program. But again, we think about these things ahead of time. So a student wouldn't necessarily have to know what they want to do long term day one, but as they go through the process and the program, they kind of develop what their identity is going to be as a graduating student. We want to make sure that they're well aligned. And so we have these discussions on a very regular basis with them.
Very good. All right. For our live audience members, if you do have questions, now is the time to submit them. You should see a Q&A box or a chat box that you can use to send in your questions, and we'll handle those shortly. In the meantime, I did have some questions of my own for you, Dr. Herman. So let's start with how a student would decide which pathway makes the most sense for them. Now at Tarleton State University, we are offering so many graduate degrees in the health related um, sector. It might be overwhelming for students to decide athletic training,
Yep.
exercise science, rehabilitative science, occupational therapy, physical therapy, physician's assistant medicine. Those are all now degree programs that can be obtained here at Tarleton State University. So, any guidance on how to select the path that is right for you?
That is an excellent question. So I was recently at a career fair or educational fair, and so at the Stephenville campus, we had freshmen coming in with their families, and I had a young lady that asked me, and she was a graduating senior, about some of our programs, and she seemed a little uncertain of what she wanted to do. And so mom asked the same exact question you had, and I said she should not know. I think our young people put so much pressure on themselves, and society, I think, does it for them too, right? It's, well, what are you going to do forever? That is a very overwhelming, inundating question, and I don't know that they should have an answer to that. I know when I was a student, one of the things that I did, and I'm super nerdy like this, but I had spreadsheets about all the different things, right? And so it was, what are my university options? What are the program options? What was, and I encourage our students to do something similar, but where do you want to work? Do you want to work outside and be super hands-on? Do you want to work behind a microscope? Do you want to work with our elderly population? Because if you look at PT, traditionally a lot of those are going to be an elderly population. And so if that's the population that you gravitate towards and have a heart for, like absolutely, let's run with that. If you want to work with your high school athlete, for example, and you're okay having to like tell them to pump the brakes occasionally because they're going to do all the things you told them to and then all the things you told them not to do as a high school student a lot of times, right? And so maybe athletic training is a right fit. So the career fields you mentioned are all very unique. So hop on YouTube and learn, right? So dig around, poke around at what the resources you have available are. Rehabilitative science, like I mentioned, is a really beautiful umbrella of a lot of things. So if you have a student that doesn't really know what direction to go, rehabilitation science is probably a really good place because we can get them internships and it doesn't have to be just one location. We can put them in AT, PT, high school, college settings, military settings, city. I mean, we can do a lot of different placements because a lot of times that can kind of walk them into what the best place is for them as well. Um, I've got a really dear friend, and she is a physical therapist, but her specific population is pediatric oncology. So she works with like little babies that are going through cancer. And again, super unique, but for a student that hasn't experienced, probably doesn't even know that that's an option. So, but if that's where like your gifts align and that's where you want to be, like let's explore these things together. So, have discussions with faculty, trying to identify where their like perfect day is. Is my perfect day is working with a sporting team? Is it with like elderly population? Is it with little kids? Is it inside outside? Is it in Texas? What happens if I want to go and work in like Italy? Well, I've got tons of placements there, working with our military members, but thinking about kind of like a long term, like an ideal day where they're going to work, like what does a perfect day look like? And if they can start there, then I think we can start to back into, okay, well, what about this, this, this?
Yeah, good advice. Thank you so much. So I just want to clarify a few things for our audience members. How many credit hours did you say this program is?
36.
36. That's what I thought you said, and can be completed in five semesters or five terms if you follow the degree plan that you showed us.
Yes. Yep. And it can
Okay.
be done a little bit faster, a little bit slower. We're pretty flexible. Courses are offered face to face in our Fort Worth campus.
Okay.
Again, Fort Worth is exciting. It's up and coming. It's brand new, but we are centered in the Dallas Fort Worth area. the amount of networking that our team has done is really astounding. And I think it's going to offer a lot of exciting opportunities for students.
Thank you. That was going to be my next question for you. So, you mentioned also rolling admissions, so students could start this fall, spring, or summer semesters.
Yes, absolutely. It's not too late to apply now. I think our process, we're looking at around 10 business days right now, roughly. And again, we're walking ourselves into holiday season. But if a student were to apply this week, realistically, within about 10-ish days, we should give them acceptance. And then from there, they could register for courses in the spring. Spring is going to start, I believe, January 14th. So there's still plenty of time to get these things done. And whether that's getting with financial aid or our department that works just with our military veterans to help them align with those benefits. There's still plenty of time to get all those things done.
And students from any academic major would be welcome as long as
Ab-
they met their prerequisites.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right. I also wanted to ask you about talking more about just job prospects.
Sure.
Sounds like it's quite varied and potentially quite broad.
Yep. So if you wanted to do the master's in rehabilitative science and that's kind of all you wanted to do, you don't want to go on a further degree.
Mhm.
Clinical exercise physiology is a really good one. CMPC, which is a clinical mental performance specialist, is another career field. That is the career which is really like a sports psychology, but not sports psych degree. It's a sports psych license. And so what we're finding right now is our tactical military contracting in particular is hiring that career field and they cannot fill it fast enough. You'll also see that one with our cities, municipalities as well. Um, so hospital settings is going to be one placement. Working with our first responders is going to be another really, really easy one. Even looking at working in administration, but maybe for a hospital setting or like an orthopedic clinic or athletic training or physical therapy clinic. A rehabilitative science offers a really unique opportunity for students to learn the business aspect of things, the scientific aspect of what an injury does psychologically versus like your actual physical body. But it offers enough of a perspective where they're super, super versatile. So I would have to imagine those are probably going to be the most popular rehabilitative settings for this degree path.
So just to kind of wrap us up, this would be a great option for people who are maybe wanting to distinguish themselves on their way to potentially other um,
Mhm.
terminal degrees like occupational therapy, physical therapy, or it's also quite sufficient as its own standalone program that takes you to very specific professional options as well.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, it's been so interesting to hear you talk about this new program. Thank you so much for your leadership and getting it off the ground. We're excited to see how it benefits our Tarleton State University students. I'm not seeing any questions from our live audience members, so I think at this point we can end our webinar. But thank you so much to everyone for your time today, especially you, Dr. Hermans.
You're
So,
very welcome. Thank you so much.
all right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.